my name is Chris Bobbit, and I'm doing my persuasive speech. I'm sorry that I could not be in class tonight, but hopefully this will rectify any situations that may arise. I'd like to warn everyone who will be watching this video, especially you, my professor. These viewpoints are strictly ramblings of a man who does not like most of modern-day country music. Some of the events that were listed below that coincide with the release of these songs are merely coincidental. Or are they? As a child who moved around a lot, music was one of the first things I latched onto for comfort in a new environment. The sounds of the 80s coursed through my veins. Rocking to the beats of such artists as Huey Lewis and the News always cheered up my tiny baby heart. On breaks from the military, my father would bring home new cassette tapes of artists for me to listen to, such as Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash. This was the first introduction to country music. It was very pleasant to listen to. Even a bit dark sometimes with the Man in Black. The simplicity of the rhythm and musical arrangements of these amazing artists blinded me to the dark cloud that would hang over our heads to this very day. Now, I'm not saying that all country music is immoral or awful, but there are 3 songs that have unleashed some sort of hex on this great nation and spread on a global scale. I will tell you some rather questionable events that I believe were caused by these 3 terrifying songs. Song number 1, if you can hear the faint background music, happened many years ago in the year of our Lord, 1992. Billy Ray Cyrus, yes, the father of Disney's own Hannah Montana, came out with an international hit called Achy Breaky Heart, to the chagrin of my young ears. Let me go over some of the lyrics for the young whippersnappers to know the atrocities this song created all over the world. You can tell your ma I moved to Arkansas, or you can tell your dog to bite my leg, or tell your brother Cliff, whose fist can tell my lips he never really liked me anyway. Oh, tell your Aunt Louise, tell anything you please. Myself already knows that I'm okay. Oh, you can tell my eyes to watch out for my mind. It might be walking out on me today. But don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart. I just don't think it'd understand. And if you tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, he might blow up and kill this man. Ooh. Women and men swooned wildly over these lyrics, and the mullet was brought back to the forefront because of this horrible, horrible song. Here are a few pictures that I found on the internet of the mullet. This is Billy Ray Cyrus with his mullet back in 1992. This is just a random man with a mullet who fell into the craze. This is a childhood friend of mine that has the little lines in his head and a mullet. That is my cousin Paco. Alright, that's not my cousin. But, good looks, good looking mullet there. Also, just last year, 1,000 residents of a community in a small town in Idaho got together with all their ukuleles and tried to come up with the greatest conglomeration of people to play Achy Breaky Heart at one time with ukuleles. That's amazing. Song number 2. Well, actually we can stop and look at these. This is tragic events that happened in 1992. January 8th, George W. Bush, the first one, was televised falling violently ill at a state dinner in Japan, vomiting into the lap of Prime Minister Kiichi Miyazawa and Fanny. Reports were President George Bush was introduced to this song and became violently ill. Also, in eastern Turkey, an earthquake registering 6.8 on the Richter scale killed 500 people. Why did an earthquake happen? Billy Ray Cyrus, people. Also, Euro Disneyland opened. What an awful, awful place. It's not the happiest place on earth. They actually have Achy Breaky Heart playing on rotation, 24 hours a day. And also, randomly, the Venezuelan revolutionary Carlos the Jackal is sentenced to life imprisonment. Yes, that's right. He was caught line dancing to Achy Breaky Heart. The second song that I'd like to discuss is Kenny Chesney's She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy. Well, this song involves the evil world of business and the need to corrupt young minds into purchasing products that aren't needed by the masses. I'll boldly say that 90% of the world has no use for a tractor. But in the year 1999, country music star Kenny Chesney duped many hardworking Americans into buying one of these so-called sexy tractors. Kenny Chesney describes his own music as a mix of Jimmy Buffett's Sunbaked Tropicalia, AC/DC's Volume and Power, and George Strait's polished, immaculately sculpted twang. What a very silly man to combine all three of those influences, because that's ridiculous. I'd like to say a few of the lyrics from this awful, awful song. She thinks my tractor's sexy. It really turns her on. She's always staring at me while I'm chugging along. She likes the way it's pulling while we're tilling up the land. She's even kind of crazy about my farmer's tan. She's the only one who really understands what gets me. She thinks my tractor's sexy. I don't know if anyone could ever put it that way, but I have nothing more to add to this nonsense. There's some sexy tractors right there. We're going to go to a few of the events that happened in 1999. Alright, May 19th, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace comes out. George Lucas, you messed up. You shouldn't have been inspired by Kenny Chesney. Ridiculous. May 29th, Kathy O'Dowd, a South African mountaineer, becomes the first woman to summit Mount Everest from both the north and south sides. Supposedly, she was actually following a man who was riding a tractor on that mountain that very day. And June 6th, in Brazil, 345 prisoners escaped from put in prison through the front gate because the guards were distracted by sexy tractors. I'd like to move on to song number 3, which is currently playing right now. The song is really hard to keep up, is trying really hard to keep up with the times of music. Hip-hop has become a big deal across the land, and who better to combine urban slang with some sweet country beats? Trace Adkins. That's who. This man somehow managed to provide the words badonkadonk into a country tune. It would take another speech entirely to make sense of this mess. Hold on, it doesn't make sense at all. So let me review. This is a badonkadonk. Some form of Burning Man ritual where they have a Land Cruiser. That doesn't make sense. Let me say some of the lyrics from this beautiful, beautiful song. Hustlers shoot an 8-ball, throwing darts at the wall, feeling damn near 10 feet tall. Here she comes, Lord help us all. Old TW's girlfriend done slapped him out of his chair. Poor old boy, it ain't his fault. It's so hard not to stare at that honky-tonk badonkadonk. Keep in perfect rhythm, make you want to swing along. Got it going on like Donkey Kong. Apparently the word, yes, the badonkadonk is not a beautiful woman's tailpipe. I don't know how to politely put it. This is what a badonkadonk is. So, I'd like to show some more tragedies that happened in 2005. Well, there's only one. January 20th, George W. Bush, the Jr., is inaugurated in Washington, D.C. for a second term as the 43rd President of the United States. I would like to blame all these atrocities and tragedies on these 3 country songs that shaped our land from the early 90s to the late 2000s. And in closing, researching for this speech was one of the most challenging endeavors I've ever faced in life. Repeatedly poring over the contents of these 3 songs has made me realize that not all country music is horrible, but these 3 songs came from the very depths from where nightmares have come from. Thank you. Good night. I don't drink, I leave.